Mr. Paul here with the Creation Station. This is video number 3 of our aquatic coding camp game. And today we're going to focus on the jellyfish enemy. So I'll be moving pretty quick. Feel free to pause, rewind, and watch again. All right. Down here we've got our eel enemy. We duplicated him and created our hook enemy. And that's how we made our hook enemy coming from the top. So we're going to duplicate this enemy sprite again by right-clicking or two-finger touching the touchpad or by holding down on a touch screen. Duplicate. And now we have a hook too, and this will be called jelly. All right. So we can get rid of the hook now. Hook's gone. Again, the reason we duplicate the sprite, here it is, jelly, is because it carries all the nice code that we already created for our enemy sprites, including damaging our hero. So what we want to do, let's talk about our vision, is that this jellyfish is going to drift in from the right and maybe drift up and down until it passes to the left. So if we remember, Scratch is broken up into an X and Y coordinate, the stage. So if our enemy sprite enters from the right, that's going to be positive X. And as it's moving in the left direction, that'll be negative X. And because it's going up and down, that'll be positive Y and negative Y. So we'll be using all 4 coordinates for our movement. Okay, let's go take a look at our code inside our jelly. We've got our movement code here. We've got our animation code here. So let's start with the animation code. We're going to say, oh, no, actually, let's go distance. Sorry. So right now, the distance is greater than 20, then we enter into the scene. And that's left over from our hook enemy. So we're going to make our jellyfish enter even later. So we'll go to, let's say, 50. And if you remember from the last video, we actually travel very quickly. So we'll hit 50 in no time. Probably like 2 seconds. So if the distance is greater than 50 of our hero, this is our variable distance, then go to a random spot on X. We don't want that anymore. We want our jellyfish to go all the way to the right. So we're going to get rid of this random for a minute, put it up here and save it for later. We're going to go all the way to 450, all the way to the right. And pick a random spot on Y. That way he'll appear. He could appear up here, he could appear down here. But I don't want him to go all the way down, like where he appears on the ground, or way up here where the hook is. So I'm going to say about 200 to negative 200, or positive 100 to negative 100. So for the y-axis, it'll be positive 150 to negative 150. I think I'll settle on that. And we'll leave the set size to 50% of his normal size. Keep the rotation style left and right. And then this weight is a cooldown for how often our jellyfish is going to reappear. So it could reappear every 1 second, 2, 3, 4, or 5 seconds. And I like that. I'm going to go ahead and put it up to 6. So then our jellyfish will show up. They'll play a sound, which will change later. And then we want them to glide. So let's think about where we want them to glide. We want them to glide left on the x-axis, which is negative. So let's pull that out and go negative 450. And we want them to move up and down on the y. So we're going to say, pick a random spot, again, between 150 and negative 150. And then, after our jelly's moving to the left, gliding to the left, and picking random y spots, either positive or negative, we have the sound play again and keep gliding to that spot, which is negative 450. Pick from 150 to negative 150. That's the y-axis, up and down, and then hide. The hide is when the jelly gets to the end over here. Okay? So let's go to our animation script, and it needs to match the same distance and our conditional, our if conditional. If the distance is greater than 50. If the distance is greater than 50. And we should have the new costume here, which is Jelly 1, Jelly 2. And this is why you always want to name your costumes, because it's easier when you're animating. Okay, let's run this script and see what happens. Green, start. There's our distance. So right now our eel should come in, go a little bit further past 20. Our hook should start coming in. There it is. And we get to 50. Let's see if our jelly comes in. Whoa! Super fast, right? To slow it down, we need to change our glide time, because right now we're saying that it only takes them a second to go across. So we want to be like more like 4 seconds. That'll really slow them down. Yeah, look at that. How cool. And then he's going up, and then he's disappearing. So one thing we can do is to fix this situation where the jelly is getting stuck over here. We can pause the game and move our jelly to the edge and see his coordinates, which is negative 229. So 450 might be a little far. Let's put negative 240 or 230. Nah, 240. Negative 240. And then he'll hide. And up here, go to 450. We could say that can stay. All right, so let's run it again. There's our jelly. Look at that. How cool. We don't take any hit damage yet. Now, the situation where the jelly's coming across and then moving up is because we have this second glide here. So what I'd like to see is the jelly glide and then glide up a second time. So we're going to need to split our x-axis into 2 parts. He's going to glide to the middle of the stage and then glide a second time. So the middle for x, if we're talking about left and right, the middle of the stage is 0. And then he'll kind of glide there and then glide to the left side of the stage, which is negative 240. That should create the up and down motion. It should be pretty cool. Let's try it again. Oh, jelly. There he is. He's going to glide to the middle. Boom. And then pick a new position. There it is. And glide up. How cool. And the way he's animating is he's switching from costume 1 to costume 2. Which you can see I made the jelly long and the jelly shrunk. You do that by using the selection box and shrinking. Okay. All right, I like this. Now let's put the damage. Oh no, we lost. Let's add the damage now. So every time our hero touches the jelly, so we got to go to our hero, we want him to show his ouch costume. So if you remember, this is just a repeat of code we created earlier. If touching the eel, that's our condition, then show these costumes, the ouch. Play the sound, the ouch sound, and then repeat 3 times. Show the ouch costume 3 more times. The reason I did that is that our hero always wants to be showing the swim costume, which is over here. Switch to swim forever. So this has to override that swim by saying repeat this 3 more times. So you can see we have 2 enemies in here. If touching the eel, do that. If touching the hook, do that. And now we can copy this code again, and this time say if touching the jelly. So to copy just the if and everything inside of it, we're going to click on the if right here. Let's right click, double finger tap, or hold down. Duplicate, and now I've got this whole piece, and I'm going to put it under the last if, but inside the forever, like that. Be sure not to put it inside the if, like this. That would be bad. You have an if inside your if. You don't want that. These should be separate ifs. There. You can see this if ends here, and a new if starts here. And we're going to change to if you're touching the jelly, show the ouch. Way at the bottom, there's jelly. I can move this now. Move that over there. Okay. And so you'll see you'll have a stack of all your enemies by the end of the game to show your ouch. Let's check it out. Gets hit by the hook, gets hit by the eel, and gets hit by the jelly. And you can see that our HP there is taking damage. Cool, huh? I think this is a great game so far. We've got 3 enemies. It's a little bit tricky to get through. And, of course, you can eat fish to gain some HP back. Which, by the way, when we're done with the enemies, we will be adding more of our food items. Okay? Good job, guys. Keep on coding. Guys, just kidding. There's one more part. I forgot to add the sound. So let's go to our sound tab in our jelly sprite. And what I got was the zoop sound. So we would go to search, effects, all the way down to Z, and zoop. Or you could search it. What I did with the zoop sound is I slowed it down by hitting the slower button. Right? The original one sounds a little bit faster. Sounds like this. So you could leave that, but I wanted more of like a squishy jelly sound. And I found that when I slowed it down, it sounded a little better. Then I duplicated it and created an even slower one. So it's kind of like a push and float sound. So in the code, where the sound used to be over here, in between the glides, I added it with the costumes. So that every time our jellyfish is switching costumes, it'll make a little sound. And then the wait 0.2 seconds, switch, and start the sound. Make sure you use start sound, not play sound till done, because this will be like a wait, and it'll cause your script to stop. All right? And this goes inside our conditional, which I also changed. Our condition used to just look like this. It was just an if distance is greater than 5, animate. But I only wanted to make this sound when it's actually crossing the stage. So that means that that I have to code the X position in here as well. So I said if the X position, which you go here, you go to motions, get your X position, you get your operators, you get an and you get a greater than. So I said if the X position is greater than -150, that's where the jellyfish eventually ends over here. As long as his position is greater than that, that means he's on the stage, then go ahead and play this sound and animate. But once he's here and he disappears, I don't want the sound to keep playing. So that's why I made this condition, only if he's greater than 150. It's right here. He's already at -225, so his animation and his sound won't work anymore. There we go. And you can play with this X position greater than whatever distance you decide. Okay, now let's go to the movement script because I changed that a little bit too. So normally we had this wait right before the show, and that helps the sprite wait a little bit before it shows up on the stage again. That way it's not just constantly flying in there. But I noticed that because the wait's in the middle, after he shows, he goes across, bloop, 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 bloop. He hides, and then he instantly goes to +450, which would then activate this code because his X position is greater than negative 150. Why is that bad? Because he hides, he goes to the right side of the stage, which then activates the sound, bloop, 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 but he hasn't shown yet. So what was happening is we were just hearing the sound and the jellyfish was nowhere on stage. And yeah, that could be kind of creepy and cool, but maybe we'll save that for the boss. So what I did is I moved the random wait time to the top. So after he hides, he won't go to the right side of the screen and he won't activate the sound until he's waited for a little bit. Okay? And so this is what it'll look like. Cool, huh? Just playing this sound and this sound right after. I like how it kind of dies out at the end too. It's pretty cool. All right, enjoy, guys.